Hello everyone, my name is Aarti and you're watching HW News. Earlier this year, a statistics report revealed that a record number of Indians applied to give up their Indian citizenship last year. Over 1,60,000 Indian nationals renounced their Indian citizenship in 2021. Needless to say, these are all high net worth individuals who can afford citizenship abroad. India does not have the provision of dual citizenship, so if they want a citizenship of another country, these rich Indians tend to give up their Indian citizenship. Since 2017, however, over 9 lakh Indians have renounced their citizenship and gone to another country. If we talk about the 2021 data, the maximum number of people have taken up US citizenship, followed by Australia, Canada, and the UK. What this data tells us is that an increasing number of Indians are willing to give up their citizenship, and definitely there seems to be a trend of it. But how does one renounce their citizenship and opt in that of another country? What exactly is the process? Why they may do so? Many questions that we have, and to answer those, we have with us Mr. Birender Singh, Managing Director of Quantis Consultancy, which facilitates these citizenship services.
Mr. Birender, thank you. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank
Let me
you.
just jump to my first question. Why do people renounce their citizenship and they take up citizenship of other countries? I mean, is it just because they want to settle in some other country, or are there any other reasons behind it?
There are many reasons. It depends upon what kind of nationality are we talking about. Because of the global connections these days, people have different businesses in different countries. People have different interests. They have families, they have friends, they have other interests where they want to travel freely across the world, across the globe. So there are many reasons actually why people would renounce their nationalities. Being an Indian, or if you're discussing only about Indians, then we have to renounce our citizenship because we do not allow second citizenship at any point in time. But there are other nationalities which allow dual citizenships. So not every nationality has to renounce their citizenship. But if we're only talking about the Indian Citizenship Act, then we have to renounce our citizenship. Now, the only reason why people would renounce is that they have either shifted to a country which has given them a business, a job, a life where they want to remain till they live. So they have to renounce their nationality, or they can still have a permanent residency for that particular country and maintain their Indian citizenship. So it all depends on the situation of a person who has immigrated or migrated to a destination of their own choice, what the rules are for the land, and what requirements are there for the family. But it's not that everybody has to renounce that. If you're only talking about second citizenship, yes, Indians will have to renounce their passports to become a citizen of any European country or any Caribbean countries, which are these days having a lot of Indian interest and getting a lot of clients to get citizenship for those countries, namely Saint Kitts, Dominica, Antigua and Barbados. These are the few countries which attract a lot of Indians these days. We don't have a particular reason why people are renouncing. There are different reasons. As I said, mostly is freedom to travel. Many people don't want to be in a queue of a VFS or of a immigrant country where a person has to wait for 3 weeks, 4 weeks to get a visa just to have a meeting or have a holiday. So if a person can spend whatever amount is required by the country, then they have the capacity to fly wherever they want, because these passports or the second nationalities come with the benefit of visa-free countries. Mostly are Europe, UK, and other different countries. US and Canada do not come into this, but UK and maximum of the European countries are attracted with this passport. So if a person has a business interest or a job interest, or a person just wants to visit freely across the globe, then they would acquire this passport. Also, if I would discuss about other nationalities, for example, Syria, Iran, Iraq, Iran and Syria have a lot of sanctions from the US authorities. So, which means that anybody who is holding an Iranian passport or a Syrian, now you can say to some extent Russian, after this war happening, the Russians have been sanctioned by all of these Caribbean countries. So these people who hold their passports are attracted towards these nationalities because they are not allowed to do business freely. They're not allowed to travel. They will not get a visit visa for any European countries. They are not going to be able to transfer money across the globe. Because if you have an account in Syria or in Iran, there are huge sanctions by the United States. They cannot transfer a single penny out of their account in Iran, which means that they cannot do any business. And looking into the current scenario, the world has shrunk so small that businesses across the world happen in seconds, and the transactions has to happen. And if you can't do transactions, then your business will suffer. As an individual, you will suffer. Due to these reasons, a lot of citizens across the globe, leaving apart Indian citizens, mostly citizens from these countries which we just discussed, would like to acquire second passports so that they can freely move around, do business, visit across the globe, meet friends, families, whatever the reason is. So they are attracting a lot of citizens across the globe to get their citizenships and have a free travel across the globe.
All right. You have been dealing with a lot of clients who want to take up citizenship of another country, nationality of another country. Uh, any particular country or set of countries which are very popular among such clients? Which country do they want to go to? What is the
Uh,
preference?
as of today, almost every country has some kind or the other immigration program. Whether we talk about UK, Canada, Australia, New Zealand, US, we talk about Caribbean countries, they have a direct citizenship program through donations. They have real estate as well. We have European countries like Greece, Cyprus, Portugal, Malta, Spain. These countries have citizenships as well as residency categories where you can invest in real estate and get permanent residency for these countries. So all these countries are popular. It depends what is your need, what is the client's requirement, what are they looking for exactly. Are they looking to relocate themselves with their families to a particular country? Then there are different set of countries to go into, like UK, Canada, Australia. You also must be knowing we see a lot of immigration happening these days to different countries.
Yes.
So it all depends whether you are a student, you want to study abroad, you are a professional into IT, you have a lot of work permit opportunities across the globe. You are into a business, you want to set up a branch, you want to set up a substitute office anywhere in the world. There are different categories for that. If you're not interested in doing any business or any kind of job, but you just want to have a second passport which gives you the freedom to travel, then you get the citizenship. If you have, if you want to invest in real estate and get into Europe, then you can go to Greece or Cyprus or Malta, Portugal. So your question is very wide. Actually, we can't pinpoint why a person should go to a particular country. A person can select uh, a country which suits their needs. And as of today, the positive thing is all these countries have different kind of immigration programs to suit different kind of people. So
All
as of now, we would say if a person is just looking for second passports, then Saint Kitts is the country on top. Then Dominica. If you're looking at residency for Europe, then Greece and Cyprus are on the top. If you're looking to study, work, then UK, Canada are at the top. So it all depends what kind of visa are we looking for.
Yes, a lot of students from India are, going to UK and Canada for study, as you rightly pointed out. Could you a little bit elaborate on what are the programs that are being offered by UK and Canada at present?
Okay. If we discuss about UK first, UK around 7 8 years ago was not that vibrant in regards to getting immigrants into UK. But last 2 to 3 years, since the Brexit thing happened and finally the UK was out of Europe, they had to have a lot of immigration programs. So now they have student visas, they have work permits. They're also giving work permits to graduates who have graduated in UK for bachelor's or master's. Once you have completed your education, you can have an open work permit. If you are of any profession and the employer requires that kind of profession, he or the company can hire any professional anywhere from the world and get them into UK, give them a 5 years visa. At the end of 5 years, you can settle, have your family, become a British citizen. So these are
Hmm.
the programs for professionals. If a person has a business, you're running a business, small or big, in India, and you have a unique idea which which uh, which you can prove to the United Kingdom government that this kind of business has not been done before, or whatever business has been happening so far, this idea or this business can change the entire market. As long as you have that kind of business idea, you can also come to the UK, start up a business, and hire people and get a permanent residency for UK. In regards to Canada, Canada has been vibrant for many years. They attract a lot of students, they attract a lot of workers, they attract a lot of permanent residents, they attract a lot of investors or business people from all over the globe. So these are the categories for both these countries which attract so many people that they are on the top.
Hmm.
If we talk about
Hmm.
immigration happening all over the globe, these two
Hmm.
countries are such which you will find a lot of people migrating to.
Hmm.
But again, it depends what is your requirement and what are you actually wanting to get out
Hmm.
of this country. Then you have to select very carefully. uh, we would suggest to everybody or all the listeners that you have to select exactly what you want. Do not go by what a person has told you to, or do not
Hmm.
follow the trend. If there is a trend
Hmm.
to just move to Canada and you just blindly start moving to Canada,
Hmm.
you have to see what are your goals, short term and long term. If I'll give you a
Yes.
small example, if a person's aim is to just study abroad and then come back to their home country and implement those the knowledge they've acquired or the expertise they required, implement that into their home country or into their family business or into their career, then UK is the best country to study in. If a person or a family wants that their child or themselves should go to a country where they should study and easily acquire a permanent residency, then Canada is a country which a person should go to. So you have to uh, identify what exactly you need. You have to identify what you want to do. You want to study, you want to work, or you just want a second passport, like we discussed. Do
Hmm.
not follow blindly whatever a person says or an immigration consultant says or whatever the websites say. You have
Hmm.
to discuss within yourself, within your family, what exactly is the requirement, what is the best country which suits your
Hmm.
requirements, and then acquire that accordingly.
Hmm.
Uh, as you must be aware, in immigration there are a lot of fraudulent activities which are happening,
Hmm.
and people, because they blindly follow a
Hmm.
particular advertisement or a particular company or group of people, uh, we should suggest everybody to discuss with everybody, meet different companies, go on government websites, go on university websites, check for themselves what is the best for them, and then take a proper step.
That's a very pertinent point that you mentioned here. Let me jump on to another question, and I'm tempted to ask this question. When we are talking about the UK, especially,
Yeah.
we have seen a lot of fugitives from India have settled in London, especially.
Yes.
We have Lalit Modi, Vijay Mallya, Nirav Modi going to London, fleeing India. Why is it that London has become a sort of safe haven for all such fugitives?
Yeah, that's a very interesting question, actually. It has two parts to it. One is UK is the best if we talk about any kind of legal assistance you need or any
Mm,
tax advice you need. That's the best. Now, when you have the best of people in UK and people like the examples which you gave, Nirav Modi or Mr. Vijay Mallya, they
mm,
are loaded with money and they can
mm,
afford the best of people available in UK, whether it is a criminal lawyer or a tax lawyer.
mm,
They can afford them, and as long as these people in UK are hired by these big shots running away from India and coming into UK, they can fight their cases for years and years. The reason behind that is the UK government has a very strong Human Rights Act. As long as a fugitive can prove that if the fugitive is sent back to their home country, they will not be dealt properly by the law, by the police, by the courts, or by the whole government. The UK government will give their full support because of the human rights. So the solicitors or the lawyer firms which they've hired, they will fight for their human rights. They're not actually fighting for the actual case they have. The UK
mm,
courts will have a second application going on, which is a human rights application. So the plea is that kindly fight the cases which they have in India. Can they those be fought in UK? Can they be heard in UK? Because if they are heard in India and I have been sent back to India, then maybe I won't be dealt properly. The law will not support me. I will not be given a chance to explain myself or to fight the case. So kindly let me be in the UK and
mm,
fight my case. And it can go for years and years. We've seen that, and it's been happening very frequently, which is not good for the Indian government. But if you look into the UK government's rules, they are only
mm,
bothered about the human rights of a particular person. They're not stopping the Indian government to run a case against them. They're just creating a safe environment for that fugitive to have that case run in a country where he's not threatened that he will be put behind bars without any reason or without even proved guilty. So these are the reasons why everybody who has something negative going on in their home countries, leave alone India, we see people coming from across the globe with different kind of legal matters coming into the UK, applying for asylum or having requested for the legal applications to be dealt within UK because of the human right is so strong in UK that they will help you and they will run the cases in UK. So it's not good actually, but if you look as the UK government role, they're doing the best they could to secure and to help the individual.
mm, mm. Apart from Indians, do you think any other fugitives from any other countries or people who have got legal cases in other countries who are in large number present in London at the moment?
Yeah, from every country, actually, from every country, they keep on getting people who come as a visitor, maybe, or apply as a refugee, or and come here and apply for asylum and then run their legal cases within UK. So, because of the best of legal advice which is available in UK and the human rights which are so strong, people feel and people think that if we go to this country and fight our cases, we'll be looked after in a way
Mm,
which we want. But
mm,
if you go back to their national countries, they are not that happy.
mm.
But this is how the world is working at the moment, and UK is helping those kind of people.
Well, one also very interesting question about this is While Nirav Modi went to London, and almost I listed out three fugitives who are presently in London, Mehul Choksi chose to go to Antigua. Now, I'm very sure that until the point that the news came out that Mehul Choksi has gone to Antigua, uh, maybe half of the country might not even have heard the name Antigua. This
Yeah.
choice of his, Antigua, to to flee to, was very, I mean, surprising for everyone. Why did he choose that country to go to? I mean, is there any citizenship benefit that the country offers?
See, if we are talking only about this particular person, then the
Hmm.
only reason he acquired that citizenship was to run away from India, so that
Yes.
he becomes a citizen of another country, by
Hmm.
which the rules does not affect him. The
Yes.
police can't just simply catch him and take him back to India
Hmm.
because he
Hmm.
is a citizen of another country.
Correct.
Now, I would not say that the country knew about it, that he is
Hmm.
going to be a fugitive. He must have started the procedure well before the news broke that
Hmm.
whatever they had done. So a lot of people have blamed Antigua, that why would you have a fugitive becoming a citizen of your country? They didn't know
Correct.
about it actually, and frankly, once that had happened, that is an example case for all these Caribbean countries, that they have to do a proper due diligence before they accept any kind of application. Now,
Hmm.
in respect or in defense to these countries, they do not know if a person doesn't have a case against them as of today, and they have applied for a citizenship and they tick all the boxes in their checklist, and they give the citizenship, and in coming 6 months, 6 years, 10 years, there's a case against that person, and the person is wanted in another country. It's not the mistake
Hmm.
of Antigua or any other country. It's actually something which has happened normally, but the country was blamed a lot, that why would you give a citizenship to a person who has such a big case against him. Now,
Hmm.
coming back to your question, which is why would he select that particular country? Now, that answer can only be given by Mr. Choksi. But what we understand is that he must have required to get a citizenship as early as possible before
Hmm.
things go out of proportion. And at
Hmm.
that point in time, Antigua was the quickest to give citizenship for whatever money they wanted. But that was the quickest and the easiest at that point in time to get the citizenship. And that can be the only reason why Mr. Choksi would have selected that country, that before the news break and the whole world knows about what they have done, he should acquire that citizenship. So the only answer is that the quickest way to get another citizenship was Antigua at
Hmm.
that point in time. So he had to run away from India, so he acquired that.
Well, that's very interesting to know, actually, because
I
many
would, I
people,
would
as I
also
said,
like to, I'm sorry, I would also like to
yes.
add one more thing. Um, After this incident, all of these Caribbean countries are very closely monitored by the European Union, because once you have this citizenship for any of these Caribbean countries, you have a free travel to these European countries. So now, after this Mr. Choksi's application of the case, all these Caribbean countries are very strict upon their due diligence. Before this, they were not that strict, but after this incident, they are very strict. They go deeply into your background. They check everything, whether it is your litigations, your criminal activities, your police reports, your educational
Hmm.
records, where you've been working, what kind of business you've been doing. They will have all the information gathered, and they will have their own due diligence happening. And once they give a green signal, then only the citizenship will happen. If there are any red flags, then we have to answer them back. If they're
Hmm.
satisfied, fair enough. If they're not, they will not take the application. This was not happening before Mr. Choksi's case came
Hmm.
into light, but after that, everybody is very strict now.
And it seems like Mr. Choksi's case has proven to be a lesson for
Yes,
Caribbean countries.
yes, it has been.
Well, now let's move on to the procedures, the nitty-gritties of it. I'm sure our viewers who are watching this show might want to know about what exactly is the procedure of obtaining citizenship of other country. So, what exactly is the process of this?
Okay. Now, again, it depends upon what country are we discussing about. But but in a nutshell, if I would like to explain is whatever category you're applying for, whatever country you're applying for, the first thing they want to check is the background of that person, whether you are into a business. If you are saying that you're going to invest, for example, 100,000 US dollars in a particular country, how have you acquired that money? What are the sources of that money? A person not simply say, this is my bank statement from last 6 months. I have 200,000 US dollars lying in my account from last 6 months. Can I have the citizenship, please? It won't work that way. If you have the money, yes, you are eligible. But will you get the citizenship? It's not the only thing which they're going to check. They are definitely going to check how have you acquired that kind of money? What are the sources of that income which you are showing? Do you have a business? If you have a business, they would like to see their bank statements, their balance sheets, profit and loss accounts, and all sorts of asset information which they would want to have. If you are salaried, working as a CEO or an MD in a company, and your salaries are huge, and you have acquired that kind of money, they would like to have the salary slips, they would like to see the contracts, bank statements, whether that salaries have been credited into that account. So these are a lot of documents which they are going to see before they issue a citizenship. So that's the first part. Once that is done, we identify, or the countries identify, that this is somebody who would be able to get the citizenship or the residency. Then the next stage is to check the family's background. Whether if a person says that we have a family of four, husband, wife, two kids, then marriage certificates, birth certificates, educational records, your proof of addresses, your police reports. If a person has been working in different countries, like if somebody is an Indian citizen, have worked in Saudi Arabia or Dubai or Abu Dhabi, Qatar, then you have to prove that you didn't have any kind of criminal activities happening, no negative flags are against your name. So you have to prove the police reports for those countries. Once that is also cleared, then the due diligence is cleared. You apply for the final citizenship application, and then in a couple of months you can get the citizenship. Same thing happens for residency programs in Greece. Same pattern it happens. Same pattern is applied for Canada. Same pattern is applied for UK. It's just that the categories are different. The timeline for acquiring this kind of application can be different from country to country, but the bases are the same. They have to check who you are, what you do, and you have to prove with enough documentation that you are not going to be of any kind of danger to the society where you're going to integrate yourself, and you will be an asset to the economy. So you have to prove all these things, and everything is related to these two, three things. All the documents will be related to this.
All right. Well, are there any registered entities which look into it? I mean, registered agencies which help you help the clients to get citizenship of other countries? Because we have seen a lot of cases in India itself that agencies are promising students, agencies are promising, people, citizens of India, that you will get citizenship of another country, but eventually that turns out to be a fraud.
Yeah. Again, this is a very important point which you have talked about, and it is something which the public should understand, that they are themselves creating a demand for such companies to operate. Frankly speaking, we know that the companies are doing something which is very wrong, and they should be caught. But what we always forget is who is creating the demand. It's the public. If we stop creating that demand, you spoke about students. Now, if a student wants to study in UK, you have to show some kind of funds. You have to show that you can afford the studies. You have to show that because you're not allowed to work full time, how will you maintain your living standards in United Kingdom? So the parents or the student has to show huge loads of amounts lying in the account and with all the supporting documentation. Now, if a person goes to a company and says, I don't have money, um, can you do that for me? The company would say, yes, we'll charge X amount of money and we'll create all sorts of documents for you. And you hand over the money and the passports to them. So you are creating the demand for yourself. And when the fraud happens, that is the time when the families realize that this is something which has gone completely wrong to what they had expected. So the suggestion is that whenever you are planning to go abroad to any country for whatever reason, whether it's a visit visa, a student visa, a work permit, a residency, a citizenship to operate a business, you have to understand that whatever the requirements are, if you are not fulfilling all of those requirements, you are bound to get refusals. The negative part to this is if you add any kind of fraudulent document or misleading document which cannot be checked by the authorities, they are not only going to refuse you, they are going to put a ban, which means you will not be allowed to enter into that particular country. And that can be linked by other countries as well. If UK has given a person a 10 years ban or 5 years ban, and you hide that information from Canada, if they find out about that, they will also ban you. So you're going to be in a very vicious circle. Every country is eventually going to ban. So when a person is meeting any kind of company, they should first check whether they are licensed by the particular country or not. If a person is doing a United Kingdom immigration, are they licensed? Do they have any ties with the licensed people working in the UK? Whether it's Canada, whether it's Australia, New Zealand, US, you should only go through those companies who have tie-ups or directly licensed by these countries because they are the only ones who would make sure that the application is done as per the rule. Whatever the documents are required by the authorities, everything is submitted to the best of their knowledge. And they also maintain the files for 6 years. So the person who is licensed by the authorities, they will be responsible for a file for coming 6 years. If anything is required by that particular government or a country, they will come back to that lawyer or the consultant who is licensed by that authority and ask for additional documentation. So you are safe with these kind of people. So my suggestion would be that do not go to people who will assure you we will prepare the documentation. You don't have to do anything. You just give us the passport and charge huge loads of amounts to get this thing done. Stop doing that because people might go through the radar. I'm not saying everybody will be stopped. The immigration authorities cannot identify everybody, whoever is doing a fraudulent activity, but they will definitely get you whether today, in 2 years' time, 3 years' time, 4 years' time. I'll give you an example. If a person thinks that they can come to UK to do a business, there are many visas for UK where if you have a running business in India or any other country, you can have a branch office in UK or open a subsidiary office in UK. But there is a uh, documentation part. There is a rule to follow. But there are many companies who just say, you just give us the documents for your Indian company and your passports. We'll create a kind of business in UK where we will get you the visa and you can shift. But the problem is, you might get the visa, but because you do not know what exactly that company has presented to the government, at the end of 3 years, when a person applies for an extension, they will question you, what about the business you're supposed to do? You told us that you're going to do XYZ business in UK. You have done nothing. Thank you very much. Your visas are finished. Please go back. So the families will only realize after 3 years or at the end of 3 years that we were promised to come to the UK and you'll be settled. But at the end of
Hmm.
3 years, when we are applying for an extension, we come to know that this is the end of the road. We are
Hmm.
nowhere now. We have left India. The children have left their studies in India. They were studying in UK, and all of a sudden now we have no visa. We've been
Hmm.
banned. We have been asked to leave UK. Where do we go? And that is the time people realize what actually happened to them. That's why I'm
And
saying
that too, when they have invested so much money in this.
money, time, resources. Your children have grown up 3 more years. If somebody was in a primary education, they must have gone to a secondary education. The life system has changed, and all of a sudden you tell a family that sorry, we will not issue you another visa
Hmm.
because of ABC things which you've done wrong. You have to
Hmm.
leave. So their world will crash within a second.
Hmm.
But they do not understand that from day one, the company knew that it's going to happen. But the company is only targeting people who just want a visa to enter
Hmm.
on false hopes, and the public doesn't even double check. My
Hmm.
request to everybody is whatever is told to you by a particular person, the positive thing of today's date is that everything is available on Google. You can just come back home, type in, do little research on Google, you will get all the answers to whatever questions you have. So you should meet people, you should take the information from people, double check whether there's a discrepancy in what you've been told and what you have just read. If you have any questions, go back, question the person. If you have satisfactory answers, then go ahead. Just don't believe that a person says, "Leave it up to me, I'll do it." It's not going to happen.
Well, I think that was very important point. Now let me come to my last question, and I think that is the most important question in this. What about the money? The money involved. What is exactly the cost of taking up citizenship of another country? How
Okay.
much money do I have to spend?
Right. If a person is a single applicant, you're looking at approximately 100,000 US dollars. If you're married, you'll have to add some more money, but the average or the group of amount which I can explain is starting from 100,000 US dollars can go up to 200,000 US dollars. Again, depends upon what country have you selected. I'll give an example of two. If you go for Saint Kitts is supposed to be the cheapest as of today, and the most
Okay.
expensive is supposed to be Grenada. Now, both
Okay.
are in the Caribbean island.
Hmm.
Both give you the same benefits. The only difference is Grenada has a special treaty with the United States, where if you have a passport of Grenada, you're allowed to go to US and start up a business. That's called the
Oh.
E2 visa. So they have a
Hmm.
special treaty. Turkey also has a treaty with US, but Grenada is more popular within the US community. So it all depends. If a person has some kind of business interest in United States, then they will definitely go for Grenada, even if it is expensive. But if a person just wants a second passport, free movement, free travels, then Saint Kitts is the best country. So you're looking at anything starting from 100,000 US dollars if you're talking about Saint Kitts. If you're looking for Grenada, then you start from 250,000 for a person. But on average, you're looking around 120,000 US dollars to 200,000 US dollars for all these countries, depending upon how many members you have in the family. The best thing about having these residencies and citizenships is it is not only bound for you. If a person applies for himself, then you can attach your parents as well. You can have your in-laws as well. If a family of four is applying, husband and a wife, the husband can get his parents, the wife can get her parents involved within the application. So these are few other benefits which is attracting a lot of people. So if you are spending, I'll give an example for Europe. If you're buying a real estate in Greece, you invest 250 to 270,000 euros. The family of four, five, whatever the composition is, you will get the residency. Plus, both sides of parents will get the residency, which means all three generations have got the residency. parents,
Yes.
children, and then their children. So we just
Yes.
make the middle generation the main applicant, and the older generation and the younger generation automatically is attached and get the residency. So these are the few
Hmm.
things which are attracting a
Hmm.
lot of families in India to get residencies for Europe or citizenships for the Caribbean islands.
Mhm. So just to be clear, does this cost only include the citizenship, the processing fees, etc., or it also comes with certain incentives?
Okay. Incentives are that you get free travel. You have a European residency. Your children can freely study. They can work.
Hmm.
Once they are above 18, they don't have to have a work permit for that particular country. They can simply have a job and start working. That's the best incentive a person could
Hmm.
get to settle their family into Europe. If you're talking about Europe. For Grenada passport, it is only for a free movement. If you want to have a business meeting or have visits to other countries, you can simply just buy a ticket and go. So these are the perks and the benefits which the families will get, and plus you get your parents also the
Hmm.
residency, and eventually, if they're in old age, you can buy a very cheap medical insurance and have the best of medical help given to them. Yes. If you're applying for the European permanent residency or a green card, which you say for US, mostly people relate that to a green card. But in Europe, you will get a residency permit. That's a permanent residency. But the best thing about that is you are not just spending money and giving a donation to a country, what you are doing for Caribbean countries. You're just donating that money. You are only getting a passport in return. But for Europe, if you're doing that, you are spending 250,000 euros. You're getting a house or a flat or a small villa, whatever you have chosen for. You get that house. On top, you get a permanent residency. On top, your children can study for free. And on top, your parents and your in laws will also get the permanent residency, which means that by spending or having a small holiday home in any country in Europe, preferably Greece or Malta or Cyprus, you will have an asset which is going to increase, appreciate. Plus, if you don't want to shift to Greece, the requirement is you don't have to be in Greece. You can still have the permanent residency, stay in India, and put your villa or a flat on Airbnb or put it on rent
Right.
and enjoy the rents. So you put your money in a real estate in a European country, which is safe. You get returns out of it. Plus, if at any point in time you want to shift, you can simply buy a ticket and shift. Your parents also get the residency and they are allowed to stay in Greece as well. So these are some perks which the European countries give, which the Caribbean islands are not giving.
Well, that's, I guess, very lucrative for people who are trying to, go out of the country and settle somewhere else.
Yes.
Thank you so much, Mr. Singh, for all this information.
Thank you
I
for
am very
having
sure our viewers might have found this very insightful as well. Thank you so
me.
much for your time.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you. Thank you. I think it went beyond the prescribed time, but the conversation was so interesting.
I
I
hope
loved
it
it.
was all
Thank you.
right. I didn't
Yes,
mess
yes,
up.
completely, completely. Except for the
Okay.
few glitches that I'll edit it in the post edit, so that
Okay.
I'll be taking care of.
So once you edit, you will send me as well.
Yes, yes, yes.
Okay.
I'll once I edit and I put it up, I'll send you. Or do you want a raw copy of it?
No, whatever you are more experienced in this. If you are happy, then I'm happy.